What? Idiot. Greetings, basement dwellers, and welcome back to another year of basement discourse. And what a glorious
this is going to be a long episode.
And what a glorious year we have ahead of us. So many ups, so many downs, so many in-betweens. So we have Brady, we have Jace, and we have myself, Justin. And that is the introduction. Thank you. So
That was
It was
exhilarating.
something.
I know, right? That was something. So I don't have a lot to talk about today.
It's a good thing it's a podcast.
I know. I haven't done enough of any one thing to say that I've done it enough to want to talk about it, if that makes sense.
That was the
I have-
shittest sentence
No,
I've heard all
it
day.
totally makes sense. I've done a lot of things, but I haven't done any one thing long enough to be like, okay, well, I played this game for 10 hours, which is pretty much the
impressions
minimum.
are full.
Yeah, but I feel like a first impression is not enough. Like, you need to have at least played it for 10 hours. Whatever it is a 10-hour minimum, I feel, before you can say what you really think about it. Unless it's like a full indie title where 10 hours might be able to finish it.
Well, I was going to say, like, Portal and Half-Life you can finish in, like, 7 hours. So, like...
Well, then I guess it's relative to the length of the game. So maybe it's a percentage? more
Okay,
than
so
an
what's
hourly
the
time
percentage
frame.
then? Tell me the percentage.
I reckon it's got to be, I reckon about 7.5%. It has to be about 7.5 to 10% of a game.
Specific.
I know. Because it's, yeah.
That could be a
it's just
tutorial.
a portion. No.
If a tutorial is nearly 10% of the fucking game, just chuck it in the fucking
get
bin.
your fucking money back for that shit. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, even if that shit was free, I'd be wanting my fucking money back.
Well, I'm still waiting on my fucking Elden Ring tutorial because I've done like 100 and something hours in that. So
It's
that was a
a
long
cave.
tutorial.
It's the cave at the start that everyone misses, including me.
Yeah.
Nah, they fixed that. Like, there's all these fucking signs basically pointing to go down the cave now.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah. 7.5%, I reckon, is the bare minimum. You need to have played a game in its completion to be able to say what you really think about it. Otherwise, you're just sort of guessing at that point. You just been like, well, I turned it on and the menu screen looked good. Like,
Well, since
and
we're on
that was nice.
Justin's shit takes, hot takes. Jason and I both had some hot takes this year, or last year rather, that we have more information on. So you talk about a certain game that we did most of an episode on.
Yeah, so WWE 2K22. Brady will put footage on the screen over here. But yeah, so we kind of shit on that game a fair bit. And
Yeah,
now
we
that it's
really did.
actually...
About it hitting differently.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was the thumb.
That's the thing.
that, like,
but the whole hit differently thing, it was deserved to shit on. Like, it is not that different from the other WWE titles. It
I
is
don't
very
feel like
clearly
you
a
can
new
really
graphics engine.
Be that different. Like, how different can you be for a wrestling game that it then doesn't
well,
stay a wrestling game?
They can be really different. Like,
Apart from that WWE Rumble one, that one was very different.
oh yeah, but like
Whack.
even like some of the like Nintendo 64 versus PlayStation 1 games, worlds apart in how they played and stuff like that. This one is different, but it's not huge. This is what I would expect from like the next title in a series, because they very much have that yearly bullshit where it's like, oh yeah, we changed how the thumbsticks work for this game, and we added Terrence. He's our new wrestler. And that's about it. But this one, they've done a fair bit. You can tell they've still used a lot of animations from the previous titles and stuff like that. And there's
To
a
be
lot of
honest, why
assets they
wouldn't you?
reused.
Like, you know, if you're talking like the well-known moves, you're not going to reinvent the wheel on that. You're not going to go,
No.
oh, you know what, that tombstone, let's make it look totally different. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
True,
don't-
but like you
don't
could
paint a stormtrooper
mocap it
pink,
with
you paint it
like
white, you know
different
what I mean?
people now. Like the Undertaker is retired, so
Yeah, okay, well, I had no
you
idea.
could mocap it with a different wrestler doing it and stuff like that.
Do they change the style? Like, so say, I don't know, like a suplex or something. Do different people do it differently, or is it still the same, no matter who you are?
So with a lot of the modern wrestling games, like if you went to just do like a standard vertical suplex, there's about 15 different versions you can do, and they all have different animations. They do different amounts of damage to different parts of a person,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
but
And
do
so
people do it differently? Like, so if I'm like, I I don't know any new wrestlers.
it's okay. Do
If
it.
I'm
I
like Jeff
learn as
Hardy,
I
am I
get
gonna
these
like
games because I
fly
don't
through the
actively
sky on
watch
a
it.
shooting star press? But if I'm like whoever else is Hulk Hogan per se, will I even be able to do a shooting star? Like, are there restrictions and things on different
Not
size
not
and whatever? Or
necessarily. There are restrictions on being able to lift heavy wrestlers. Like because I've used my actual weight and height, I can't lift people like Andre the Giant or any of the like super heavyweights.
see, now you're talking my language, like you're talking like
Yeah,
the '90s wrestlers.
yeah, exactly.
Are they still in
Um,
there?
Andre the Giant's dead, but yes, he is in the game.
No, I don't. I don't mean in real life. I know this. I mean in the game.
Yeah, so they bring back like legends in each game, and
Yeah,
yeah,
sick.
Andre's in this one.
That's cool.
But yeah, so I can't pick him up, but they have a whole section of moves that are like, what do they call them? They're like weight limitation or like something like that. And if someone is over a certain weight limit that you can't lift, it has alternate moves that don't involve you lifting them. So if they're over that restriction, it swaps to a different move than what you've put in.
That's
So that's
kinda
pretty cool.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
But so they haven't like done huge amounts of changes, but there are some really cool quality of life changes. Like previously, it was like just tapping R2 was your reversal button or like your right trigger. And it was kind of shit because that's all you'd do. Like you just wait for your chance to just hit that to do a reversal to, ultimately win a fight. They've now changed that to Y, or if you hit the same button as what your attacker hits, that constitutes a reversal too. So if you can sort of predict the move they're going to do, you can reverse it that way. And so there's some really cool dynamics that they've added in there. And they've done a lot of really cool stuff. So it is a really good sequel. It's not perfect though. There are still some things that fucking annoy me about the game. Like,
Have you fallen through the floor yet? Because I've seen that a lot.
no, but I threw John Cena once and his arm like broke through his spine. That was interesting.
They call that the Chuck Norris tussle.
But like, so they have like a career mode in WWE 2K22, and it's like completely separate from the main game. So I spent 4 hours making my perfect wrestler in the create a wrestler mode, and then I started career mode, and they're like, make a new wrestler.
That's fucked. And you can't pull it over?
No, so they've added a
that's
feature
frustrating.
where you can copy, like, even if it's just the appearance or like the moves or the entrance, you can copy it from one wrestler to another. But you can't copy it from your created wrestler to the fucking career mode
That's
wrestler.
a massive oversight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
People are going to want to make their own for both.
Dude,
Yeah,
there are
I mean,
threads on
that
threads
is usually
about...
the first thing I do in a wrestling game, and I haven't played many, but I remember even back in the day when I was playing them, that was the first thing I would do. As soon as I start the game, create myself in that wrestling, or create a psycho, whatever I was doing at the time. Usually myself as a psycho.
Same,
Yeah,
So that's both.
same.
Yep.
Yeah. And then I start playing the game. So the fact that they haven't realized that that's a thing people do, just that seems weird to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that like the game testers didn't realize that was a thing that people do is weird to me as well. Like, Who's
Well, like
testing
this-
these games that don't fucking make their character first? Like, it's just bizarre.
There's whole communities of people that just make wrestlers, like not just themselves, but like there's people who are like dedicated to recreating other wrestlers from other organizations and shit like that.
Yeah, I've seen
There's-
him create like Jeffrey Dahmer versus like
Yeah. People go
it's
all
so
out.
good. I love it. I love watching that crap. It's so
And
good.
you would think that they would at least allow you to like copy the aesthetic stuff, because it took me so fucking long to get my face tattoos the way I wanted them. And then I'm like, fuck, now I've got to do it all over again. So I haven't even bothered with it. And then they have another feature where you can import an image of your face. I'm like,
Does it work?
fuck yeah, that'll save me some
Does
time.
it work? Because I remember the old ones.
No, I can't get it to load the image in. It crashes the game whenever I open the image manager to load the fucking file.
I remember doing that on like Tony Hawk's.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was so bad
so
because
jank.
it didn't match the skin tone at all. It was just that photo on the like model
like,
of
made
like
of
the pointy
paper as well.
nose. So it was
so
like
good.
folded everywhere, and then it would just be wherever you put it, and the
I love
eyes
it.
never lined up.
Yeah. So I used to do the same thing with GTA, and I made my face proper. I even skin tone matched and everything to the template,
jeez.
and I can't even fucking import the cunt, and it fucking annoys the shit out of me. So while it is a great sequel for what the series is, 2K, fix your fucking shit.
That's frustrating as shit. That's so annoying.
Yeah, those are some pretty
God.
annoying. Like
Yeah, that's a
downfalls. Like, I'd
pretty
be really
obvious
annoyed if I
flaw.
made a character, went to a different mode in the game, and couldn't use them.
Yeah, it's a shit oversight.
Like,
Yeah.
again, the Tony Hawk's games, you make one for your career if you want, and then you play two-player with your friends. You can pick you.
Yeah. So I
Like,
think the reason they didn't do it is because when you create your wrestler, you can just add whatever stats you want in the create a wrestler thing.
Yeah.
But then
Are they not
obviously in
limited?
your career mode, they don't want you to start as maxed out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know why they can't let you import and be like, oh, we're just going to nerf your
Remove
stats.
Yeah. Pick your stats again or whatever it is.
Yeah,
or
or just
randomize your stats.
literally do the cosmetic changeover, and then start
Yeah.
from generic stats. That's
I don't feel like that would have been a difficult thing to do. Like, it's not like it's a technical issue. I think it's just a complete oversight on their behalf.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
Yeah, totally.
no,
yeah.
that's infuriating.
So, Brady, you've got some insight for us for the new year.
Yeah. So the Chainsaw Man episode, well, not the episode where I spoke about it and watching the first episode and being somewhat disappointed with the CGI appearance at the end. It only warranted like one person who was kind of like, "You're wrong." But I did put Chainsaw Man saying I suck on the actual thumbnail, so I probably deserve that. It was a little baity. Look, and that wasn't even my opinion in that episode. I didn't say the whole thing sucked. I've spoke about this. I'm not going to reiterate that I like the author's other works far better.
Yes,
Like,
even
they just are, and they're good. And Chainsaw Man to me just reads like genericized the worst. And I read it first. I will say, because what I didn't say in those episodes is that the manga is really cool because he does very interesting bits of art that he sort of does in the other things that I like more. So, for example, there's one person in the show who has an ability. He uses a weapon that basically summons a curse demon, and they kind of help him out at the expense of his life expectancy.
expectancy.
Yeah, so like he
length of his
loses
life is
years
shortened?
for
Yeah,
using
right.
it. Yeah, but what they did in the manga panel, so like he's in the fight, he runs with this weapon, goes to stab the person, and a hand appears, but it appears outside the panels and flicks him, which looks really cool because it looks otherworldly because it's not part of the panels.
Okay.
And yeah, like shit like that. The artist does heaps of things. Like when he did Goodbye Eerie, he made it all look like it was a storyboard because it was about a guy making amateur films.
Yeah.
It just, he uses the medium in ways that other artists don't necessarily do, and I don't think that translates that well to the anime. The anime is still doing some beautiful, weird stuff. I don't know why the food looks so good in Chainsaw Man. I don't. They just animated the food to look like food porn. I don't get it. It's outrageous. I might have to put some shots up to actually get you to sort of notice what I'm talking about.
We need to see this.
It's
is it Food
so
Wars,
fucking
like
good.
Sexy, or is it?
No, like the food looks amazing. Like it's epic quality. There's like one scene where they're walking, and for some reason the walking just looks so fluid and good. Like the jackets are moving, and the step is like they've animated every tiny bit of it.
The last time we talked, you were saying animation was shit.
No, I said that the CGI at the end of it was shit. At the pinnacle moment of a shonen's first episode where you want the fight scene to be good, I said that was shit. Still stand by that. They still do that quite regularly, and it drives me up the wall. But for some reason, random bits of it they've made really good. And what I really didn't understand about the show, they get a new animated ending, like end credits, for every episode, which is a ridiculous waste of time in my opinion. It's cool, I guess. But why are you wasting time on this?
So what do you mean by that? Like the rolling of credits is different?
Yeah, like
the animation that's occurring while that's happening.
Yeah, right.
At the end of anime, there's usually still like an animation under the credits. It's not like a lot of Western shit where it's just a black screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're changing that every episode.
Wow, it's a lot of work. Is it relevant to like the current story? Like, is it a recap on the episode you just watched?
Mostly just fun. It's like, I think, did I show you guys in the group chat the all the like movie references in the opening?
No.
There's like a comparison. They use like all pop culture movies. There is all the big ones you'd think of.
Like all those ones.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Fight Club, Pulp Fiction, like all those sort of like cult classic movies. There's a reference to everything in there, as well as the artist's other works. He's got little scenes from his other mangas, but like the characters from Chainsaw Man in them. All pretty cool. And probably the coolest thing I've seen in animation recently was they did a scene. It's a repeat of the end scene of an episode. It's like something dramatic happens at the end of an episode, as per usual. In the next one, it is almost like a recap, which kind of annoyed me because Chainsaw Man hadn't had any recaps, except they've reanimated it with different, I'm calling it camera angles. Don't really know why, but it gives you an entire, it's like almost like from someone else's perspective.
That's cool.
Kind of thing, because it's kind of a dramatic moment. That was very, very cool. But piss off the different endings. It's a ridiculous way to waste your money and time. Like, I don't think anyone cared.
First and foremost, it's their money and their time. They can waste it however the fuck they want.
I know, but if you're going to do 12 episodes of a manga that could potentially do an awful lot more than 12 in one season, like, you could have pumped out like 3-4 more episodes quite easily if you weren't wasting all this time doing a different ending for every single episode.
Or perhaps they did that while editing was happening or something like that, and then just popped that in at the end.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Like, it is their time and money. I get where you're coming
make more episodes that's a fucking stretch.
Yeah.
Well, if you add up all the minutes for 12 episodes,
but then you're not accounting for writing, editing, proofing, anything like that. All they've got to do is just animate some silly shit.
Yeah. Either way, I'm not going back on my opinion. I still think they should have done one of the artist's other works because they're better. They just are better. The story is just not that enthralling to me because it feels like everything else just more violent. That's it. Yeah. And that's cool because violence in anime can feel subdued at times. They'll like punch someone into an entire cliff and they're like, oh, I'm scratched. Whereas this is not like that. The stakes are quite real and they make a point of that consistently because the way people fight is by making pacts with demons and they're usually giving up body parts or life expectancy or something like that to do so. And they do have to go on fighting demons with like missing an eye in exchange for a ghost that flicks you around or something like that, or a special sword or something like that. So that's better. It's not enough to make me be like, this is awesome. Plus the horn dog main character, I can't deal with him very well.
Fair enough. Still sounds like it's better than most shonen, to be quite frank.
Actually, speaking of that, the current season of My Hero, real quick, because I haven't enjoyed My Hero for quite a while. Real dropped off. Didn't care. There's like 3 seasons there, I think. They're up to season 6. I didn't even realize that. I thought they were on like 3.
Yeah, I've got season 4, I think. That's about it.
Yeah. Current one's quite redeeming. Brings it all right back. Won't say much more about that. Because it's just shonen. There's not much to say at this point. It is far more redeeming than the last few seasons, because I had pretty well dropped it until I just ran out of current shows to watch and thought something chuck on weekly for 22 minutes. Much better.
I actually quite like My Hero. Like, I agree that it definitely dropped off, but like the first 2 seasons were fucking awesome.
First 2 seasons were great. It just fell off hard for me. I was like, And then I got kind of bored of the school thing, but they're now finally like, there's still the school element, but they're moving on a little bit. It's nice.
Yeah, see, I think the school element's the better part.
You would though. You love that school thing.
Yeah, you love your slice of life stuff. Like,
yeah,
there's like one bit where they organize a band performance for an assembly, and I'm like, the bad guys are plotting to come get you. What is this? Like, I don't care.
To be honest, those like, there's always one of those sorts of episodes in any like school-based anime where everyone stops everything they're doing to do some sort of school performance or whatever.
Yeah.
Those are literally the worst episodes.
Yeah, it makes no sense. You're that on
but
the
this
edge,
one went on for like 4 episodes.
You wouldn't stop. You would not just be like, I'm going to go back to normal life now.
Yeah.
There's no chance.
Yeah.
It's fucking stupid.
I actually saw the funniest criticism of Tanjiro from Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
Yeah, because they're like, anyone notice that this dude's pretty cheery most of the time outside of combat? I was like, yeah. They're like, he's a pretty optimistic dude. Like, yeah. Like, motherfucker's entire family was killed in front of him. Like, well, he found them just dripping in blood all over the place, and he's just carrying no trauma day to day.
This is true. Yeah.
Like,
well, it's probably because he's got one family member that he's still like clinging onto. Like,
that's true. Yeah.
That's his glimmer of hope.
But he's very happy all the time when he's not in a fight. Like, he's not just like coping. He's like the starry-eyed anime fucking meme. Maybe he's just gonna snap one day. Very well. Who knows?
Fucking murders everyone.
Yeah, he's. I'm sick of this. Yeah, all right, Justin. So nothing happening in the tabletop world. You don't think there's anything important going on with D&D that you want to maybe like?
I've been printing like a madman. I've been prepping like a madman. I've been reading a lot of source material. Been doing a lot of writing lately, so I think that's probably why a lot of my time hasn't been spent doing anything all that interesting. And there's not a huge amount I want to talk about out loud just yet. Like I don't want to do any spoilers too soon, but we'll be jamming with some D&D pretty soon, I reckon. So
yeah, that'll be sick.
Yeah.
I do notice that you completely missed the like OGL hint that Brady was
the OGL thing. Dude, I'm not even getting into that. I'm just going to wait and see what they actually release, because they've full backtracked, which we knew they would after everyone started.
Well, that's the thing is like
unsubscribing and all the rest of it.
We don't even know that the leaked OGL was legit. Like it looked like a legit. It might have been, but like
they're not denying
it. Probably was.
Like they're not denying it wasn't what they were intending. Like they're not saying that.
I think their backtrack announcement said that it was a draft.
No.
Yeah, that's what they're trying to claim.
I don't think they admitted it in any way, shape, or form.
They said it was always meant to be changed from there. So
yeah,
I think
they said that was the original draft for sure. They have said that. But I'm just gonna wait and see. Like, I think they've made it very clear. Like the world has made it very clear that they're not going to allow that to happen. But I also understand it from their side of things as well. So someone explained that today, that when they brought out 3rd edition, they changed the OGL to allow everyone to do whatever they wanted with it. And people were like, fuck yeah, let's go to town and let's make money from this Wizards of the Coast idea and not expect to give them a cent for it. And I think that's kind of a little bit unfair. But at the same time, at 3rd edition, when Wizards of the Coast did that, maybe they shouldn't have. And then the expectation right now wouldn't still be there. So,
well, I think
Yeah, go.
Go, Brady.
I was just gonna say one of the things I don't think D&D would have its current following if they hadn't allowed so much of it to be used online. So I think it is the same argument of streaming games and them getting annoyed that they're not getting some money out of that. It's like you will sell way more if you allow this.
True.
And I
this
think
is very
D&D,
true. But
so you can argue that maybe they own a little bit of it. And the other argument that I agreed with that I did say was that they didn't always love that because anyone could do whatever the fuck they wanted with it, people would maybe misrepresent what they originally created it for, including things like when we sit down for session zeros, we always discuss people's limits and what we would like them to have. People are just putting content out there with whatever the hell they like, and some people like to shoot Darth Vader in the dick in certain scenarios.
I punched him in the dick, thank you very much.
Yeah,
things like this that maybe Wizards of the Coast don't really want their brand necessarily associated with, but it just comes along with the territory of we're playing D&D. So there is something in it, but I think they're, at least this initial draft, whether leaked or real, was way overkill. Yeah,
I think that's pretty much where I stand with it too. I understand that they need to monetize it at some point, and as far as I'm aware, in the 2000 and whatever OGL, the previous one that they brought in with third, that did have a component where if you were making D&D content and securing revenue over a certain amount, you did owe Wizards of the Coast certain royalties.
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
I can't remember, but I have a strange feeling that was brought in, or maybe it was an amendment or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a fucking specialist and I'm not a fucking lawyer. But
that's the hard part, is that we have a lot of opinions on this topic, and a lot of them sound right. And then you listen to the other argument and you're like, well, that sounds right too. So I think both sides have a point, but definitely Wizards went too far with what they expected straight off the bat. They were basically saying, if I write a campaign tomorrow, they own it. As soon as I release it, they own it. It's theirs. And that, any profit that I make over the whatever it was cap would also be partly theirs, or whatever, not even profit, whatever income I make over a certain cap would also be
I think the
partly
smarter
theirs.
thing, just as a suggestion that they could have done, is just included another tier in D&D Beyond, or a separate subscription thing that's if you're making content, you got to pay fucking $1 a month.
Yeah,
whatever.
The creators subscription.
I think that
pay
would
$5 a month.
Everyone would have shrugged at that and gone, yeah, sure, fair enough. That keeps me out of legal trouble. And they did make it all. Instead, they went about it in this
sort of thing.
Ridiculous way, and I think that was probably their error.
It kind of actually reminds me of that whole Xbox thing when the Xbox, I think it was One, was announced, and they were like, always online for everything, and then everyone's like, that's fucking shit. No one wants to be on the internet all the time just so they can play games, and then they're like, always online will be optional. I think it's sort of like that. It's like they had an idea of what they want to achieve, and they went way too far past their mark. And now they've got to pull it back to sort of find a happy medium where they're still getting the income that they want, but they're not completely fucking everyone that makes content.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the investment on D&D Beyond as well would have been, that would have cost a pretty penny. So, they're doing that. Now they're straight onto one D&D as well. It's like, they're probably hemorrhaging money into all these new projects. And then they've just had this, just all of a sudden, it's leaked. I don't know if it's been prepared or if it's been leaked or if it's, intentionally gone out there, whatever it is. And it's really hurt their pocket now, and now they've learned from it.
It hasn't hurt their pocket. Yeah, I think.
Had there's D&D Beyond had so many cancellations at one point.
That from this leak. So, sorry, I thought you meant previously, and the reason that they were looking to get some money.
But the thing is as well. So for all of their purchases and stuff, that's also gotten more people to buy into it. And like,
Yeah.
that was money that was going to D&D Beyond before that's now going into their pocket after
Yeah,
they
that's right.
purchase it.
Yeah. But they're
And
probably
then there's
realizing
also
now-
the other things like every time, shit like Stranger Things references D&D, they have to pay for that because they explicitly mention, like, for example, Vecna is a licensed character by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
So they use that name and they've got to pay for that. So they are making decent money. And like, I'm not saying that, they make money, so therefore they can't also ask for money from creators. But
No, definitely.
I don't think they were as bad off as some people do try and imply.
Yeah, and it is easy for us to sit in the sort of the bias window of, well, we don't want to pay, we're trying to get off the ground. So of course we are going to be somewhat defensive, but I don't think that our points are overly wrong or laced with too much. But yeah, that's a reality. I mean, maybe if you're on their side and you're creating this stuff and people are instantly taking it and then making money out of it, you think of the big ones and we imagine that they're getting royalties off that, like things like Critical Role and especially like the Vox Machina anime, but we don't know. Maybe they somehow loopholed their way out of that and now Wizards are trying to
realizing
fucking stopping that from happening.
it also could be
know.
like now they own D&D Beyond. Maybe they're seeing their online sales and being like, well, this isn't as good as we thought it would be now that we own it.
That's possible as well.
Because you got other resources out there. Like DM's Guild is awesome for resources. You can get campaigns, you can get all sorts of different resource books for $1.
I actually find, like, just looking at the history of D&D, I don't know if it's just because they didn't have the money, because it has been somewhat underground for like the longest time. It's just,
well, it was it's been a glorified board game for fucking
its beginnings were.
They do seem
light.
to be kind of slow on the mark on stuff that homebrewers and content creators and people who just have the tech skills to be able to do it have been doing. Like, look at Hero Forge. That's not on D&D Beyond. That should definitely be a part of that. Like,
I think that's part of the reason why they would have got D&D Beyond, though, is because they want to get with these modern times, because there's all the homebrew rules stuff, there's the critical role content, shit like that, so they can start getting ahead of the curve, and I think that probably is a good option for them. And
it is. I just feel like it's a weirdly slow move by them.
Yeah,
I've been wondering
the OGL
about
was
that.
silly though. Like they if they're trying to do that and they're trying to monetize things and they're trying to get more versatile in their marketing and all the rest of it, maybe instead of just slapping an OGL out there that like they have, like the ruling that they have, maybe reach out to these people who are doing really well with their Patreons and their Kickstarters and all the rest of it and start trying.
I mean, they may have. Again, that's us
Who
being
knows?
able to sit on our sort of
Well, they never contacted me.
Yeah, I didn't hear shit from them. I mean, that's fucking ridiculous. I mean, there's a Rick and Morty D&D, so where's our money?
Yeah. For a second there, I thought you were implying we had something to do with Rick and Morty, and I'm like, the fuck is he on about?
No, that exists, and yet we did that one anime one shot. Like, come on.
Oh yeah.
And our Christmas special.
Rude. That
everyone's seen.
Yeah. 2 years later.
Well, I've reshared it this Christmas, so like
you did, yeah.
Seen it.
Rather than make new content, we just reshared the old content.
What the fuck am I gonna do? Fucking record D&D on a plane?
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah, actually, I totally could have done that.
You could have.
Yeah. It's
we
the one thing you actually can do from anywhere with an internet connection. Yeah.
Even without one.
Well, it'd be a bit fucking awkward.
Yeah. Just texting Jace back and forward. What did you roll? This is what the room looks like.
No, I'd be stuck in airplane mode. So like,
instead of us,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's it. All right. I think that about rounds us out for our first true episode of the year. Justin.
Yeah.
So the other one wasn't a true episode. Fake episode.
Yeah, it
wasn't.
Fake episode.
You're making
Announcement
fake
episode.
content.
It was an announcement episode.
You
It
fucking
wasn't-
sicken me.
Fake bullshit. All right. Well, yeah, that's an episode. This is a new year.